What's up, everybody? This is Scott from NoLightToMetal.com, and it's time for another edition of Heavy 70s. And this one's going to be 1970.
That's
and
right.
Along with me for this one is
Trog! Stone Groove Records and Stone Grooves and Deep Cuts.
There you go.
And Troglodyte Dawn.
And we came up with a list of 10 or 15 or so, top from 70. And when you get to 1970, you're not really talking, you know, pure heavy metal. I don't even think that the word heavy metal is really even being used yet to describe music.
Well, excuse me. This is going to be wicked loud. What do you call it? Steppenwolf did use the term.
Yeah, Steppenwolf did use the term,
He
but
was Born to Be Wild in 60.
something like that. But it was more of describing the sound of, you know, the motorcycle or whatever.
True.
But, you know, it didn't become until, like, what, not 74 the term became real, you know, being used a lot. And by 78, it was everywhere. But anyhow, so some of this stuff, you know, might not belong in a heavy metal list. But we're just going to call it, you know, some of our favorites from 1970.
It's hard and heavy. It's not hard rock and heavy metal.
No, it's just
hard and heavy.
Hard and heavy. All right, so number one, we're going to go with probably not anywhere near one of his best albums or even one of his best known albums, but Alice Cooper. And this is the Alice Cooper Band.
Yes.
As discovered by Frank Zappa.
That's right. And on the Bizarre label,
The Bizarre label, yeah.
Straight.
Straight. I think it's actually Straight. Let's check it out.
I think it's Straight with the
This is the gatefold, too.
Of Bizarre, anyway.
Yeah,
if I remember right, I've got... Yeah. I mean, I love those first two Alice Cooper albums because they're so friggin' bizarre. And the band was still searching for their sound, for sure. But it...
that Warner Brothers one?
But it
is a Straight.
It is part of Straight. So.
Yeah.
I was always fascinated with that cover when I was a kid. Before I ever heard Alice Cooper, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I always liked the cover too. That just the guys, you know, mega long hair. I mean, think about 1970. Who looked like that?
Yeah, Alice Cooper group definitely had a lot of hair, especially Neil Smith. That guy had hair to spare. Some of my favorite cuts off here: Mr. and Misdemeanor, which is cool. Still No Air is a good cut. Refrigerator Heaven.
Yeah.
Lay Down and Die Goodbye. Return of the Spiders, which is a tribute kind of to themselves. They were the Spiders before they were Alice Cooper.
And of course, the Return to Refrigerator Heaven kind of came back later on in a different form. Think about it.
Refrigerator Heaven.
Yeah, when you talked about somebody having sex with the corpse on, was it Welcome to My Nightmare?
Oh, you're talking about I Love the Dead?
No.
Cold Ethel.
Cold Ethel, there you go.
Oh!
And that little line, Refrigerator Heaven, came right back into that.
Oh, I didn't remember that one. Cool.
Which was, I always thought it was a reference to that song. Maybe it probably was.
Yeah, probably.
So, anyhow, Alice Cooper, 1970.
Yeah.
The very first album from the Alice Cooper Band. Very different from what they've been known for.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go with, this would be album number 5 by Blue Cheer. We've got the rare original cover of Blue Cheer 5, the original Human Being. This was the last thing to round out my Blue Cheer collection. The more well-known cover, there was a couple of them. Black and white one, band sitting kind of in the alley with a balloon. I like the color one, just adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
Favorite cuts on here, we got Good Times Are So Hard to Find, definite one. Pilot. Cool band, a different sound by this point. This was not the 3-piece LSD and louder than God lineup anymore. They were kind of trying to refine their sound a little bit more.
I wouldn't call it lighter, but maybe cleaner.
Yeah, a little bit more melodic, not quite as heavy metal. I mean, I think Blue Cheer was one of the very earliest
heavy metal
to
bands,
really do that.
I mean,
by this point, not so much.
At worst, you'd call them proto metal, but you know.
Yeah, that's what I use it.
Yeah, you call them proto.
Blue Cheer. Yeah, Blue Cheer. Not one of their most well known, or necessarily one of their best, but.
All right, this next one is the a guy who would become prolific in 70s American heavy metal. The Amboy Dukes, featuring Ted Nugent. There are several pressings of this. There are this one here, which is the original pressing, because it has a little sticker here that's saying featuring Ted Nugent. Most copies say Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes in here. This is an original pressing.
Pretty sure you gave me that.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a. It doesn't sound like the Ted Nugent solo stuff.
No.
Still heavy in the 60s, kind of psychedelia, and it had that Nugent guitar tone.
Yeah.
So that's what gives it its heaviness. But as far as being heavy metal, no.
Not really.
Not at all.
Maybe.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
again, that's what I would call it, is proto metal, if anything. But trying to remember if there's any songs on here that never resurrected anywhere, and I don't think there was.
Not even Breastfed Gator?
No, not even Brain Games of Yesteryear.
Not even The Inexhaustible Quest for the Cosmic Cabbage?
None.
For not doing drugs. Ted came up with some interesting titles back then.
I wonder how much of that was his lyric writing, if it was Andy Solomon. But anyhow, Ted Nugent and the Amber Dukes, Survival of the Fittest. Marriage on the Rocks, Rock Bottom. I almost said Survival. I did say Survival of the Fittest. I don't know where I got that.
Is that like side 1 is Marriage on the Rocks, side 2 is Rock Bottom? Kind of like Jethro Tull had each album.
That's why I always understood it. Whether that's true or not, I couldn't tell you.
Like the Aqualung album, side 1 was Aqualung, side 2 was My God. I like that. 1970, here's another one. Humble Pie, self-titled third album. And gatefold on here. Peter Frampton, still in the band at that point. Jerry Shirley on drums. Greg Ridley on bass, as always, and the incomparable Steve Marriott on vocals and guitar. One of the best singers out of England in the 70s.
Right. You said Peter Frampton, I got Doobie Law stuck in my head.
This is long before Doobie Law.
Yeah.
What do we got on here? We got One Eyed Trouser Snake Rumba, covered later by Hounds of Hasselvander on their Further Torments of the SG EP. Red Light Mama, Red Hot, I'm Ready, Live With Me is on here. Good stuff. Humble Pie, just great classic hard rock from the 70s, very blues based. Steve Marriott, nobody could sing like Steve Marriott. He's influenced many.
Yep.
Black Crowes are very into Humble Pie. Quiet Riot's Kevin Dubrow, huge fan of Humble Pie.
I'm getting a kick out of watching him get that.
I'm in a little trouble here.
Alright, up next, Genesis. This is not a band most people would think would make a list like this, but you know what? Early prog. This is Genesis' second album. Doesn't really have that 70s sound quite yet. It doesn't have that, it wasn't quite as proggy, as musical, as progressive as what they would do, except for the song The Knife. Now, The Knife was definitely a prelude of what was to come, you know, soon. But it still kind of has a lot of that 60s vibe going on to it. But The Knife, excellent song from Genesis. Trespass, great record.
There's a knife right?
There's the knife, man. There's the knife. So,
That's not a knife.
not heavy metal, not proto metal, just good, solid 1970 rock and roll.
Prog, some of the old prog can get damn heavy though.
Yeah, like Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Listen to Heart of the Sunrise.
Chris Squire's bass playing,
Oh yeah.
awesome.
All right, here we have some more, not pure prog, but space rock as they called it.
Yep,
They weren't
definitely
even
space
pure
rock.
space at this point. They were still a little folky. First Hawkwind album, self-titled. All right, so we got Hawkwind spelled out in leaves, and we got some kind of lizards running around, piles of leaves. It's like, what does this have to do with Hawkwind? I don't know.
No.
Copious amounts of drugs? Yes, definitely. Hurry on Sundown on here, very cool. Be Yourself, love that one. Paranoia, parts 1 and 2, Seeing It As You Really Are. It's good stuff. Not quite what you'd expect, the chanty, super long pieces that they did on In Search of Space or
Right.
Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, but this is definitely the roots of what they were going to turn into. And I like this album. I like it a
Do, Re, Mi,
lot.
Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do.
Do. This was Lemmy's first album.
Yeah, Lemmy's first album. Lemmy did not play on this one.
No, he didn't. He didn't play on the second one, In Search of Space, but he did play on the Silver Machine single, which is kind of associated with this album. So there.
Main man for Hawkwind?
Dave Brock. And we
Dave
got
Brock.
Nick Turner too. We got three
Yeah,
versions of
Nick
Hawkwind right now, I think, floating around. There's Hawkwind with Dave Brock. Nick Turner's Space Ritual is also another one, and I think there's a third, but I can't quite remember.
All right, next up, let's see what we got here. Okay. We got Uriah Heep with Uriah Heep
And very heavy, very humble. UK, USA.
US. Slightly different track listings here too.
Slightly different covers too, you think?
Now, very different covers. Now,
I mean, very heavy, very humble's got some guy trapped in what looks like spider webs. I think it's Mick Box, I'm not sure, but kind of creepy looking.
this thing is just bizarre.
This is like evil centipede, whatever. I love the cover though. It's so
I've always
weird.
loved I actually like both the covers. I think they're both
They
kind
do.
of cool.
They're totally different, but great albums. I mean, what do we
Now,
have?
if you want to talk about first wave of British heavy metal, Uriah Heep were one of the originals.
Yeah.
It's not just the songwriting, it's not just the guitars, it's that heavy. And I want to say keyboards, it was organs.
Yeah, the Hammond
Hammond
B3
organs.
with Ken Hensley.
Hensley, exactly.
Heap was definitely. I mean, okay, Heap and Purple, very similar kind of styles.
Yep.
Ken Hensley had a certain way that he would like pack his organ using blankets and different things to give it a certain sound, and they definitely had a unique Hammond B3 sound. Purple kind of ran the gamut all over the place. John Lord used different sounds, but the B3 from Uriah Heep, wow.
Yep. And then later on, he brought that sound into Blackfoot, of all bands.
That's right. He did play with Blackfoot. So what do we have as far as track listings here? Commonly known songs, Gypsy for sure. That's a big one. Real Turned On. What's the difference in track lists? Gypsy's track 1, Walking in the Shadow.
Come Away, Melinda.
Lucy Blues.
Bird of Prey.
Bird of Prey and Lucy Blues. Those are the different ones.
Yep.
Those are the different ones. And then we got Dream Mare, Real Turned On, I'll Keep on Trying, and Wake Up, Set Your Sights.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's only one track difference on either of these. So essentially it's the same album. Bird of Prey is a kick-ass song though. So
Yep.
if I had to choose between the two, I'd probably take that one.
Classic records. Alright. Next up, your turn.
My turn? Oh, well, it's what you're hearing in the background. 1970 brought us Atomic Rooster, featuring Vincent Crane. This is his brainchild. Vincent Crane, late of the Arthur Brown, Crazy World of Arthur Brown band. Very similar as far as keyboard with heavy bass lines going. This was Atomic Rooster's second album or third?
Second. I'm pretty sure it was their second album.
Yeah, first one was called Atomic Rooster.
Right. Yep. And this is their second one. Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Death Walks Behind You, which, I mean, heavy metal was also maybe birthed here, right alongside the first Sabbath album.
And people don't give them credit for that.
No, they don't. They're a little less well known. Carl Palmer played with them, of Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Was it on this album or this first album?
First album, and he also played with Arthur Brown, with Vince.
Yep.
But saying Vincent Crane, one of the best keyboardsmen in the business as far as I'm concerned. Rest in peace, again, victim of suicide. As did the drummer on this album, also killed himself. What was his name? Paul Hammond.
Yep, that's sad.
John Duquesne and Paul went on to form the band Hard Stuff after this, another proto metal band outside of Atomic Rooster. Vincent Crane went on and kept the Atomic Rooster name going for quite a while, even into the 80s.
Yeah. Put out some good stuff too.
Yeah, so this is the original cover, the William Blake Nebuchadnezzar painting, and Death Walks Behind You. This one came out later. It's got what looks like an atomic rooster.
Yeah.
But the Death Walks Behind You title
There's
is
some
not
other,
on
there's
that
some
one.
other band I've seen that has that image on their front cover.
Oh, that would be my bad. Wouldn't it?
Trog Let It Down.
Trog Let It Down. Do I have it here somewhere? I did not steal it, and I've got a funny story about that. Yes, it's the same picture technically, the William Blake. Can you see this? All right,
Yes,
here's Trog Let It Down. This is my album.
Back up. There you go.
Okay, I did not rip this off. I've been accused of it. This is the funny part. This came out January 1st of 2003. I discovered Atomic Rooster the same day that this came out. So this was already put together, so I didn't rip it off. And
I mean, it's a classic painting. There's a lot. That's
totally.
a lot of different covers have the
Hey,
same image.
If I was going to rip them off, you know, subtle tip of the hat, I love this band. Yeah, so that's it. So if you want to accuse me of stealing, you can. I don't care.
All right, next up, we got a pair released in '70. BLOODROCK. And of course, proto metal. Probably not. Just trippy hard rock. But
Hard,
DOA.
definitely hard.
DOA.
One of the creepiest songs ever written.
I mean,
it's so creepy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even listen to it for years. It freaked me out so bad.
And I actually like the version on live even better. But I mean, this is it's a classic song.
Yeah. So BLOODROCK 1. Geez, can I even Melvin Laid an Egg?
Men on the Road covered DOA too. They did a great job of it. Yeah.
This one's a little less familiar to me than this one. I really dig BLOODROCK 2. Again, it's got Cheater on it. That's one of my favorite BLOODROCK songs. And DOA, of course.
I'm the same way. This is when when I want to hear BLOODROCK, first one I go to.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Every time. This one here kind of has a
great sound.
trippy 60 vibe.
Yeah, you know? Great sound on it. Real heavy, bluesy kind of edge to it. Good band. They just have a cool sound.
Yep. BLOODROCK.
Yep. All right. Next, another band that was kind of labeled as space rock, at least in the beginning.
Yep.
UFO. This is not Michael Schenker's UFO.
No, this is
not
definitely
even close.
Nope. What do they call it? Krautrock?
Krautrock, but in space rock too, like
Yeah.
Hawkwind. Kind of following those footsteps, at least for the first couple albums. There's a lot of blues-based boogie on here too.
Yeah, it is, but it is almost classic lineup. I mean, it's got
There's some blues standards on here too. They do Evil, I believe that's the Howlin' Wolf Evil. The second album, this one's more bluesy and boogie related than the second one. Was much more krautrock and even much more spacey.
Come On Everybody was a song that they kept alive for quite a while.
Yep.
After
Come On Everybody is an Eddie Cochran cover.
Yep.
What else is on here? Hootie Love, which was a Willie Dixon song. Zeppelin did it. Well, not Zeppelin. The Doors did it. George Thorogood did it.
Yep. I don't know. It's, you know what? If you're a UFO fan, like me, I discovered them. You know, the later Schenker stuff, and you go back and you listen to this, you're like, what the heck? But you know what? You listen to it enough, you just get to love it, and that's kind of where I am with UFO 1 and 2.
Yeah, and UFO 2 I prefer over this one because it's more krautrock, spacey sounding. Really long titles and long compositions. I'm trying to remember the guitar player's name. The original guitar player's name.
Can't remember.
Hold on, it's right here. Oh, Mick Bolton.
Oh, that's
the
right.
original UFO guitar player.
Mick Bolton.
Yeah. Who did he go on to? I know he went on to play with somebody more well known.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say Bernie Marsden. I don't know why I was thinking that.
I don't know.
BNMB. Who knows? So first UFO, definitely if you're really into the band and you want to get a real good sense of their roots.
I mean, there's still mod on vocals, so it still has that kind of
Pete Way and Andy
on
Harper.
bass, so it still has some of that sound, but yeah, it's not the first wave of British heavy metal stuff that they were known for.
Core of UFO is still there.
All right, so one more, and then we're in our top 5.
All right, we've got the debut record from Wishbone Ash, which, from what I understand, coming up with that name was kind of like one of the band members said, okay, here's a word I point to in the newspaper, Wishbone. Here's another word, Ash. They stuck them together and Wishbone Ash was born. I think we got 2 different labels. I've got this one's on Decca, which is the original release, and I think that one's on what, MCA?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, MCA.
Yep. So what the track listing on here, what do we got? Blind Eye, great track. Lady Whiskey. Errors of My Way is a good one. Queen of Torture. Handy, and the 10-minute epic Phoenix.
And we nearly put this one into our top 5, just more because of the influence on heavy metal. I mean,
yep. That twin
guitar sound, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Andy Powell.
Thin Lizzy really made it popular.
Yeah.
Amongst I mean, with all those like Maiden and Priest and all those bands that used that. But
that's where it started, really.
It really started here, yeah. I mean, well, I think it really started before this, but as far as heavy rock goes, it was here.
Yeah. And Martin Turner, incredible writer, bass player, and vocalist. Just saw Wishbone Ash last year in Phoenix. Andy Powell is the only original member. They're still putting out new stuff. Although Martin Turner has a version of Wishbone Ash that he tours with too.
I hate that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean they were both integral parts of the sound, but they played the whole Argus album when I saw them. Just wow! And I met Andy Powell, cool guy. Signed my record for me. Signed their new one.
I think Argus is my favorite by them. So
Argus is just classic.
And then I just showed that one too in my, I think it was 72. Was that 72?
72.
Yeah, 72. Just showed it in my 72 video. So check out that video.
That's one of those albums I had my eye on for like 20 years. Like, that looks like a cool album, but I just never picked it up.
All right, so now we're down to our top 5.
Wow, we get here fast.
A little bit odd because, well, I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll say a little bit odd in a little bit. Number 5. Black Sabbath.
Hard to believe.
Paranoid.
Yeah.
Not number 1.
Imagine what 4 through 1 are. This is number 5.
A classic record. This is Randy's album. This happens to be the Vertigo Swirl pressing.
Yep. The first picture of Sabbath you got when you picked up this album. The first album didn't have a picture of the band. You're like, who are these guys? I loved this picture when I got this album. I was like, oh, a killer classic picture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great shot.
Total hippies hanging out in the field.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is on this, Vertigo Swirl. Vertigo Swirl.
All right, so this album was originally supposed to be called War Pigs.
Right,
Record company thought it was too controversial, being the Vietnam War was still in full swing. I mean, the title War Pigs kind of matches the picture of the freak show with the motorcycle helmet and the sword and the shield jumping out from behind the tree. But hey, paranoid works for me too, because the guy looks like he's a bit paranoid. I think.
And you know, this album here, which guitar player didn't learn how to play?
Iron Man was my first.
Or, I mean, is it Iron Man or Paranoid?
Yeah, Paranoid was a little harder. Iron Man, I remember that first riff I learned. For hours I sat in my room.
Exactly.
I loved it. Loved it.
Definitely deserves to be in the top 5, 1970.
Yeah. Deep cuts on this one. My favorite, Planet Caravan, made popular in recent times by Pantera. I remember hearing it when I was a kid, though, just going, wow, that's totally unlike Sabbath, but it's so cool.
Yeah, but Rat Salad.
Trippy song. Rat Salad's killer, too.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. Number 5, again, more of an inclusion, I mean, because of his influence, as much as him this being one of his best albums, but Jimi Hendrix.
Oops. Band of Gypsies.
There you go, Band of Gypsies.
And what a cool lineup. This was not The Experience anymore. This was Band of Gypsies. We had
Billy Cox.
Billy Cox on bass and Buddy Miles on drums.
And Jimmy was going for a different sound. He was trying to, I mean, it might sound racist, but he was trying to get away from the white audience.
And he had there was a little bit more funk, maybe even a little bit more of a jazz kind of influence with Buddy Miles and Billy Cox. I mean, it's just and this is an all-black band now, too.
Right, and it was a different time period. I mean, it was. You know, blacks weren't. They were still fighting for acceptance, still fighting to be able even to ride on buses and stuff. It was ridiculous.
Well, and also you got Machine Gun on here, which is obviously Vietnam again in full swing. So very much related to that whole thing.
And Hendrix' guitar tone, I mean,
killer.
Who wasn't influenced by Hendrix? You know, everybody.
Just a class of his own. There's no real classifying him.
Again, heavy metal? No. But
roots of heavy metal? Absolutely.
Yep. Both Hendrix, both Band of Gypsies, definitely the Experience.
Yep.
So, all right, number 3. Yep.
You do that one. That's the reissue. Led Zeppelin 3 at number 3. Not the hit machine that some of the other albums were. Say the second one and the fourth one. I mean, I love every Zeppelin song. There's not really one I don't like. But this one is full of deep cuts. Immigrant Song, the most well-known.
Yeah, and also one of the heavier songs that they put out.
Totally.
I mean, that is metal riffing right there. That staccato kind of picking.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've also got this killer sleeve, which, if I'm not mistaken, is probably Hypnosis.
It is Hypnosis. I'm pretty sure it is.
I mean, this whole wheel that spins around in the sleeve, and you can see the different pictures through the cutouts. There's pictures of Jonesy in there, and Page, and Robert Plant, and Bonzo. It's always there. I always had a way that I showed the maximum amount of band members allowed, which was probably about 2 at a time, but cool.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, definitely cool. My favorites, deeper cuts on this. Oh God, Friends, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, and Out on the Tiles. That's the rest of side 1. Not really songs you hear that often, but second side, lots of acoustic stuff. Gallows Pole, Tangerine, That's the Way. Those 3 songs just killer. They included in the acoustic sets that they used to play in the middle of shows. Just
basically heavy blues.
Very.
Yep.
And very full, and a huge folk presence in this one too.
You know the difference between like Sabbath and Zeppelin as far as heaviness? Sabbath, it was all about the guitars.
Yep.
Those heavy guitars.
Zeppelin had
putting the riff. Zeppelin, it was the bottom end. It was John Bonham and John Paul Jones. It was those guys who gave
John
that.
Paul Jones was just a stellar musician. As far as,
so underrated.
Technical ability. John Paul Jones was Page was a great guitar player, huge session man. As far as technique came, he had a kind of very loose style.
Very sloppy, but that was his deal. That was his style. But
John Paul Jones, wow.
This is the recent, was it 2014 reissue remaster?
Yep, with the bonus disc in there, all kinds of records. And to be honest, I have not listened to it yet.
And I hate the way they did the backs with the reverse now. I don't know why. I would have just rather have them leave them as gatefolds, but regardless, cool release. 180 gram vinyl, I believe. So
yes.
There you go.
The deluxe edition.
So that would be number 3. Number 2. Deep Purple in rock.
And here we've got a German pressing. Different colors.
Mach 2. Deep Purple. the first. I mean, it's not the first record for Ian Gillan because he sang on that orchestra one.
Yeah.
But the first heavy.
First proper
record.
one. First proper one.
This right here, first wave of British heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
jeez. Speed King was probably the first thrash song.
Easily, yeah, really. It easily could have been our number one, except for number one was just unarguable.
Yeah.
But yeah, Child in Time, Flight of the Rat.
Oh, Child in Time's awesome.
Hard Loving Man. I mean, it's just not a bad song on here.
Cool.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is a gatefold.
Yep, that one is definitely. And I think it's got some just some black and white pictures of studio stuff, kind of like in Machine Head, if I remember right. Oh no, not quite.
Yeah, a little different.
Good stuff. It's got the lyrics in there, black and white pics of the band. I mean, really, Deep Purple has Mount Rushmore. It's iconic.
I know a lot of people who listen to their favorite Deep Purple record. I can understand why.
Oh yeah, totally.
For me, Machine Head was the album that I discovered him on, so it was like
Made in Europe was
no-brainer.
my first, so I got turned on to the Coverdale lineup before anything. I heard Burn before I heard Smoke on the Water, so I kind of came in through the outdoor. Yeah, this one is cool.
And by the way, it's got a little bit. So Aya.
Yeah, I've got your record.
Thanks
Thank you for writing on
the
it.
record. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you wrote on both sides. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I bet she lives in Germany.
All right, we're down to number one.
Number one.
This shouldn't be a shock to anybody, but it is a shock because this band made it into the top 5 twice.
Black Sabbath, first album. We've got the Vertigo gatefold version and the American Warner Brothers version.
Yep.
The difference being one track different on each one. This one's gatefold, original black one, with the inverted cross, which was not the band's idea. It was a record company thing.
And the band hated it, from what I read.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Because they all wear crosses, every single
Right.
one of them.
And the difference in track, Evil Woman, Don't Play Your Games With Me, which is the Crow cover, is the opening cut on track side 2. On this one, it is Wicked World.
Correct.
So each one was like the B-side of a single, I think, in the opposing countries.
But is there a song heavier than
The original
Black
Black
Sabbath?
Sabbath. I mean, that's like one of the scariest songs ever with DOA.
Yep.
You know, they
It just,
both
I mean,
creepy.
even the storm opening.
Yeah. And they came out the same year. So we got 2 covers on here too, on the UK version anyway. Evil Woman is by Crow, which if you listen to the original, that middle guitar solo part is horns. So Tony does a great job of kind of rebuilding that with guitar. And then Warning is also covered by Ainsley Dunbar's Retaliation, which I looked for years, and it wasn't until the advent of all the illegal downloading. What is that? That is Atomic Rooster, by the way. The advent of downloading that I found the original Warning, and now since then I've been able to find it. But it's so cool hearing the original.
And of course, one of the bigger tracks in here, The Wizard.
Yeah.
I mean, still an FM radio staple.
Yeah, great track.
And NIB stands for?
Nothing.
I've always been told that it was Activity in Black. I read in Tony Iommi's biography, nothing, yeah.
Yeah, it was nib. They used to call Bill Ward's had a beard that came to a point like a pen nib. And apparently that's how it came to be. They added the periods, and over time it evolved into this whole Nativity in Black thing.
Which it never was.
Sort of fits the lyrics if you sit down and think about it, but does it matter? Not really.
So there you go. That is 1970. Hard and Heavy 1970, and that is the... I have one more to do. Still got to do 1971, but... That's going to be a good one, yep. So, might save 71 and do another one with Randy next time I get out to Phoenix. We're actually at Randy's house. We're actually in the cave of the Trog. And appreciate him letting me do some videos here. Appreciate him being next to me. And we have a good time doing this kind of stuff. So, I'm glad you guys enjoy watching it. You know what? If you do enjoy watching it, leave a comment. Both of us will probably be commenting back to you.
Yep.
Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't.
Doesn't matter.
And subscribe. And also go to Stone Grooves and check out Randy's channel as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put a link.
We've got Stone Groove Records. We got a channel, and the Stone Grooves and Deep Cuts Radio Show has a channel. We'll put the links in.
I'll put the links below. So yeah, just go ahead and click and subscribe. Check out Randy, and appreciate you watching. That's it for this edition of Hard and Heavy 70s, 1970. God bless.
Seizure.
Stay strong.